So back in my carefree 20s, I loved 90s JDM sports cars, and I owned a few. But I always dreamed about one day owning an Aston Martin, which I now do. So am I going to find these a bit rubbish now in comparison? And what about practicality? Now that I'm a dad, can you get child seats back there? Can you use this as a dad car? Let's find out. My name's Ben, and welcome to Dadcars. Now, what are the chances? The last car that I actually drove and filmed for the Dadcars channel was that awesome Toyota GR Yaris. And this is the Toyota Celica GT4. The Yaris's dad, or is it mum? Are cars girls? I don't know, let's move on. Now, I will happily talk for hours romantically about JDM cars to anyone who'll even pretend to listen. But the truth is, I haven't driven one for over 10 years, since I sold my 3000 GT. And they say every 7 to 10 years, every single cell in your body changes. So I am literally a different person than I was the last time I drove a 90s JDM Legend. And in the months since starting the Dadcars channel, I've driven so many incredible, luxurious, fast, expensive cars. Am I going to be disappointed? Are 90s JDM cars as amazing as I remember? I generally don't know until I drive it, but we'll find out by the end of this video. So this is a 1996 Celica GT4. Ah, back in the 90s when cars were nice and light, eh? I mean, just think 96. Well, that's when the Lotus Elise was released. I mean, that weighed like 600 kilograms less than the new two-seater Lotus, isn't it? I mean, even the 993 911 back in the 90s, God, yeah, I think that's about 200 kilograms less than the current 911. I mean, how much less does this weigh than what the GR Yaris? What is it? It's at least 100 kilograms heavier. What? Okay, it's heavier, but that means it's probably bigger, and therefore it's probably got more rear practicality for children, yeah? Wow. I mean, it's actually 6 inches lower because of this coupe style. It's a couple of inches narrower, and although it's getting on for half a metre longer, I think that's because of the shape of this car. Obviously, it's a lovely, stylish, gorgeous coupe, isn't it? Oh God, it is gorgeous though, isn't it? But doesn't bode well for rear space. Come on, look, pull us out of our misery. Let's find out. Can you get child seats in the back? Well, what's it like for full-grown adults? Let's have a look. Right. Ooh. Not dreadful. Not the hardest thing ever to get into the back of. If you sit right in the bucket and lean back, my head isn't even touching the roofline. I'm genuinely impressed with that. I mean, your spine is curved. But I could sit back here for a long time if the seat goes back. Let's have a look. Yep. Absolutely fine. These rear seats are actually pretty practical. In my book, this is plenty of space for an adult, and this seat is in the preferred driver's position as well. This is pretty good. Let's have a look at child seats though. What about a rear-facing baby seat? A big test for any dad car. Well, actually, swinging that in there was surprisingly easy. Now, obviously, no ISOFIX in this 90s car, but let's see how easy it is to strap this in. Strapping that in is actually really easy. You've got plenty of sort of head space here. Got my leg planted in there. I reckon that's actually doable if the seat goes back. Let's have a look. So I've moved the driver's seat forward a bit to the point where I'd still be able to comfortably drive this 3-pedal car. Let's see if the seat goes back. Yes, it does. For a 2-door car with a belt-secured rear-facing baby seat, this puts 911s and certainly DB9s to absolute shame. And obviously the preference is to have the rear-facing baby seat behind the passenger anyway, so you could have your driver's seat wherever you wanted. The other thing I didn't realise about the Celica, this isn't a 2+2, this is a 5-seater. Look, there's a middle seat belt. Let me sit in the middle just for a laugh. As much as I'm laughing, it's not too dissimilar than sitting in the back of one of the seats in the DB9. I reckon you could fit a lot of child seats back here. But here, my trusty travel belt-secured child seats that I use in the back of the Aston. I mean, look, the base actually fits perfectly right down in that bucket. I mean, there is a link in the description below for these. You can save yourself £10, even though I don't make any money. Well, passes the Dakar'S boot test, honestly, with absolute flying colours. This boot is massive. It's got all of James's stuff in here as well. I didn't even take anything out. Look, let me show you. Right, before we take this out for a drive, let me just explain to you why this is actually a really special car. So it's a homologation car, just like the GR Yaris, meaning that Toyota could then race it at the WRC. It was produced between 1994 and 1999, and although, like I said, the curb weight is around 1,390 kilograms, it was, however, the most powerful Celica to date, producing around 255 brake horsepower from the 2-litre turbocharged engine, which is mated to the all-important 5-speed manual. Now, back in '94, this was a very expensive car, £30,000. £10,000 more than a Subaru Impreza Turbo, adjusting for inflation, around £65,000 today. Now this illustrates two things. One, the GR Yaris is an absolute bargain at a little over £30,000 in today's money. But also, the GT4 might be a bit of a bargain. These cars haven't reached the lofty heights that some of the other JayEmm stuff has. There's a few for sale at the moment, around £12,000. Just good luck in finding a good one that you don't have to spend too much money on. So far so good. This car has shocked me a lot already. Basically, I've always sort of just dismissed the Celica as the baby Supra. If you're going to get one, get yourself a Supra. But obviously the GT4 and the Supra are completely different cars, aren't they? So I'm actually really excited about this. All right, straight away, oh, I love the feeling of this dash look. It is like a miniature Supra, and how it sort of wraps around you a little bit and points towards you. I mean, the cockpit in a Supra is incredible, isn't it? But this is lovely, and oh, just getting all like lovely flashbacks to like my wonderful Mark II MR2 that I had. You know, all of this material's the same. It smells the same. 90s Japanese sports cars, they smell the same, and that smell is excitement. Oh, I love it so much. Right, let's go. Let's go. Oh! So my MR2 was a naturally aspirated one, but the 2-litre turbocharged engine in this is the same engine that was in the turbocharged Mark II MR2. So I'm really excited actually to sort of see what sort of character this engine has got. Right, we're going to have to wait until we get up to temperature before I can start driving fast. This car is so much better looking than that modern Z4 that's got a Supra badge on it. When Daddy was a little boy, he used to have a game on the Sega Saturn which had this car. You could drive this car in that game. And do you know what that game was called? Sega Rally Championship. So JayEmm cars for quite a while now have been climbing and climbing and climbing in value, haven't they? And there's a few factors, a few reasons for that. One of them being the Americans. You know, when it's 25 years old, even if it's a car that wasn't sold there at 25 years old, they can use and put them on the road. So that's a huge factor. Thanks, Americans. And also as well as people like me, who the Gran Turismo generation. You know, we kind of got to a point in life where, you know, we've got a little bit of money where we could have a second car, or, you know, we could basically buy the car that we wanted when we were younger. And yeah, so that's pushing up the prices as well. But also at one point there was me, my brother, and our best friends. We all had Japanese 90s sports cars. I mean, we had a Supra, MR2, a CRX Del Sol, a modified Scooby. You know, and we just worked part-time. But the cars were, you know, really, you could buy anything for a couple of grand, or certainly sub £5 grand. You get yourself a crazy, incredible 90s Japanese sports car. And as a result of that, because they were so cheap and because people who couldn't really afford to run them were buying them, you know, they weren't looked after, were they? So a lot of them probably ended up in the scrap heap or parted out. They're a lot more finite now as well, aren't they? There's not as many of them out there. So all of these are factors that contribute obviously towards the value of them all going up and up and up. But in fairness though, if you do see a 90s Japanese sports car up for like what you think is a crazy price, God, should have kept hold of mine. What you've got to consider is that they've probably spent a crazy amount of money on it to get it to that point. Engine rebuilds, body respraying, and, you know, all of the maintenance and restoration work to get it to that point. So it probably is worth that amount of money. I mean, take this car for example. James bought it. He was waiting for quite a while to get one, and he bought it and all seemed fine. You know, paid a little bit more than what he'd want to, but still, you know, it was the right spec, it was the right car that he wanted, had good history. But when he got it, you know, there was loads more that needed doing to it than what he first anticipated. So it's cost him a lot of money to get this car to the point it is today. I mean, I won't go into all the mechanical works and everything that he's done. He's done a full respray. But if you're interested, he's done a series of videos on the JayEmm on Cars YouTube channel. In the off chance that you haven't already seen them, go and check them out after this. And speaking of JayEmm, I was honestly a fan of his for years. I loved his channel. And I remember when he got his first Ferrari. And that's what started the cogs sort of moving in my head. Like, can that actually be a job? Can you actually do this? What I'm doing right now is a job. Obviously, I'm still at least a couple of years away. But in that Dad B9 video he did, I'll be forever grateful to him. It means the absolute world to me. And to be driving JayEmm's car right now, this is an absolute dream come true. Thank you, James, so much. You're an absolute legend. I love you to bits. Now this Tom steering wheel isn't standard, and I think it's a pretty rare thing, and it feels very special in your hand. Really nice, perfect size, perfect feel. Oh, hit the windscreen wipers rather than the indicators. I did used to own Japanese cars, I promise you, and it actually makes, I always used to say, it makes a lot more sense having it on the right side, because if you're changing gear, you can still indicate with your fingers. Right, so sweetie, we've warmed up now, so in a minute we're going to get up to national speed limit and Daddy's going to go fast. Is that alright? It'll be fun, it won't be like crazy fast. That turbo hits, honestly, is just absolutely intoxicating. It does something to me. Right, so we're coming out to national speed limit. Let's have a look. Let's drop it down. Ready? And yeah, you know, obviously it's got the 90s delayed turbo lag. Oh God, there's just something about it. Honestly, my cheeks are starting to hurt now. It does, doesn't it? It feels a bit more raw, yeah? Right, look, we're going to go fast now, okay? You ready? Right, national speed limit. You ready? Say yeah. Go. Oh my goodness me. Oh, this is such a hoot. And look, coming from a guy who's got a V12 Aston Martin 6-litre naturally aspirated V12, the character that you get from this engine, the hisses, the whistles, oh, it feels incredible. I love 90s Japanese cars. I was generally expecting today, because of the shape of this thing, for it to be really unpractical in the back. It's not. You can fit adults back there, you can fit teenagers back there, you can certainly fit loads of child seats back there. I was worried that when I took it out for a drive, you know, like the turbo lag and the lack of refinement and the interior quality and stuff, I was generally worried that it was going to kind of spoil my memory of 90s JDM cars. Let me assure you, no, it hasn't at all. All it's done is reignited that love and passion. I need a 90s Japanese car in my life. I mean, I would love to have it as a second car. Yeah, look, maybe it'll have to be when the channel actually starts bringing in some money. fast, this car. This engine's got so much character, and I tell you what, like, as a dad car, the thing with the MR2 that I had is that you did lose traction in that rear end sometimes. Oversteer was a big thing. But this is four-wheel drive. So that's turbocharged, and you know, when that boost comes on, you get a rush of power. It's four-wheel drive, so it's a lot safer, isn't it? Particularly if you've got children in the back. Look, if anyone out there has got a 90s JayEmm car with rear seats, please reach out to me. I would love to get more of these on the channel and sort of go on a journey looking at, you know, what should be my second car as well. I mean, it's not going to happen anytime soon. I'd have to start bringing in a little bit of money from the channel. But yeah, that's definitely what I want to do. I want to have a 90s JayEmm car and something else special as well. So please reach out to me, Dadcars88 on Instagram. Send me an email address in the description below. Or if you know anybody who has a 90s JayEmm car with rear seats, send them this video, please. So in summary then, for the Toyota Celica GT4, is this a suitable dad car? I was expecting to tell you no. I was expecting to tell you, look, maybe it's a weekend car, it's a bit squeezy in the back, 90s cars aren't as safe as modern ones. And these are the things I was expecting to say to you today, but you could get a real good proper seat in the back there. And with the four-wheel drive, I'd run this as a dad car, absolutely. And it would feel every bit as exciting as my Aston Martin. It really would. And there's a car as well that, you know, driving around, people would think you can't use that as a dad car. Oh, I blooming well can, I tell you. Oh, it's incredible. The smell, the dash, just, oh, this is such a special car, and I absolutely love it. Look, thank you all so much for watching. If you're hungry for more GT4 content on this particular car, make sure you head over to JayEmm on Cars, my favourite YouTube channel for car content. Go and check it out, and yeah, he's done loads of videos. But look, please subscribe to my channel if you're new. If you're not, thank you for sticking around. Make sure you like and comment. Look, I appreciate it so much, guys. Look, I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye. He does always get lost, doesn't he? Yeah. So silly. Maybe I'll get better at talking and driving new cars so that I've got some brain capacity left for remembering where I'm going. Or maybe not. What?
I love you.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. I love you more. I love you most. Have you seen all of my other videos? If not, go check them out. I've done so many cool ones, honestly. Right, let's see if I can fit in the back of this car.
Don't get stuck, Daddy.
I'll try not to. Right, if I get stuck, can you go and run and tell James to come and let me out, yeah? All right. Oh, thank you. Cheers. I'm only getting started.